Drug-endangered children and child sex trafficking. In this short course, you'll learn how children who are endangered by their parents' or caregivers' substance misuse and drug activity are vulnerable to child sex trafficking, and what you can do to identify, intervene, and help them. In the United States, an estimated 9 million children are at risk because they live in homes where at least one parent has a substance use disorder. These are only the children who have been identified. We know there are many more. Danny is 13 years old. His mother is addicted to heroin and marijuana and doesn't work a steady job to pay for food and shelter. Danny is a drug-endangered child. The National Alliance for Drug-Endangered Children defines drug-endangered children as children who are at risk of suffering physical or emotional harm as a result of legal and/or illegal drug use, possession, manufacturing, cultivation, or distribution. They may also be children whose caretakers' legal and/or illegal substance misuse interferes with the caretaker's ability to parent and provide a safe and nurturing environment. Danny's mom drops him off at her drug dealer's home and picks him up hours later, along with a supply of heroin and marijuana. Danny's mother traded her son for heroin and marijuana because she didn't have the money to pay for drugs. Under federal law, child sex trafficking is defined as the act of recruiting, harboring, transporting, providing, obtaining, patronizing, soliciting a child for commercial sex, including prostitution, and the production of child pornography. Since children cannot provide consent, they are considered victims. More than 200,000 children are victims of sex trafficking in the U.S. every year. For most victims, child trafficking starts in the home. This is known as familial sex trafficking, just like in Danny's case. Familial sex trafficking occurs when a family member, like Danny's mom, gives offenders explicit images of or sexual access to victims in exchange for drugs, money, or something else of value. 82% of familial trafficking is related to drug use. Danny's behavior at school drastically changed when the trafficking escalated from photos to sex acts. His teacher asked if something was wrong. Danny said no because, in his mind, he had gone along with it to help his mom. The teacher took Danny at his word and didn't report to child welfare. This was a missed opportunity for intervention. Law enforcement missed an opportunity to identify the sex trafficking and drug endangerment when they were called to the home during a domestic dispute, but didn't interview Danny. Children are vulnerable when parents or caregivers are involved with substance misuse and drug activity. In these situations, there is often inadequate supervision, chaotic homes, and poverty, leaving the children vulnerable to sex trafficking. Recognizing the overlap between drug-endangered children and trafficking is not automatic for most professionals. Danny was brought to the emergency department because of severe stomach pain and anxiety. The emergency department doctor asked numerous questions and determined that Danny was being impacted by substance misuse in the home and was being trafficked. The doctor contacted child welfare and law enforcement to make a report and collaborate on Danny's case. The doctor was trained on risks and indicators of drug-endangered children and child sex trafficking. All professionals need to be aware of these. Some of them include frequent medical visits, difficulty in school, including excessive absences, and problems with peers, cognitive, behavioral, or emotional problems, prior or current involvement with the child welfare system, foster care, or law enforcement. You can help drug-endangered children who are at risk for or victims of child sex trafficking through identification, intervention, and support. Many professionals from many disciplines see the risks and the subsequent impacts of parental and/or caregiver substance misuse and drug activity every day. These professionals are key in identifying children at risk for child sex trafficking at the earliest point, so that intervention can be provided to change the trajectory of these children's lives and help to break the cycle of abuse and neglect. In DEC efforts, identifying children will prompt a collaborative response and intervention by multiple professionals. Danny was connected with services and got the help he needed. Eventually, he became a peer mentor for other children who had been through similar situations. Today, you learned about how children who are endangered by their parents' or caregivers' substance misuse and drug activity are vulnerable to child sex trafficking, and what you can do to identify, intervene, and help them. Each and every one of us can change the status quo and change the trajectory of the lives of children like Danny. To learn more about human trafficking, including child sex trafficking, go to OURrescue.org. To learn more about drug-endangered children like Danny and how you can help, contact us at info@nationaldec.org or visit nationaldec.org for information about additional trainings and resources.